This is the Standard H Roundtable, conversations with friends about the things we love. A less formal approach to a podcast, primarily sharing our passions for cars and watches and our experiences with them. This series couldn't feel further from an interview. These episodes will host no fewer than 3 people, including myself, some previous podcast guests, and even host some new names. I hope you enjoy these, and I'd love to hear your feedback on the format. Welcome to the Roundtable. Well, welcome back to episode 2, which hosts Wes Wynn from Collector's Corner, New York, who was a part of episode 1, coincidentally. And then to my right, in person, Mr. Trevor Wynn.
Yeah.
Of Pare Pare Podcast. Those of you should know who he is. The excitement here is 3 W's, right? 2 Wes's and 2 wins.
Yeah.
It's a pairing made in heaven, guys. Seriously.
How does this even happen? What were the odds, you know?
It's pretty wild. I mean, our last names are not spelled exactly the same, Trevor. It's I have the E at the end and you're just WYNN, but 3 W's. That's pretty epic too.
I love it.
Hilarious. Okay, so if you're new to the Roundtable, there's going to be 5 segments. And we'll just tackle them one by one. The first one I call maintenance, and that's basically changes being made to your car or your watch, updates, servicing, new parts, etc. I can go first. I've had a lot on my plate recently. If anybody has paid any attention to my Instagram stories, a month ago, my 997 was tapped at Cars and Coffee, and it bent my license plate frame, which is one of those that actually goes into the tow hitch as opposed to being drilled through the bumper.
Right.
So lucky for me, that took the brunt of the impact. Though the PPF on the front bumper did get pierced, a little paint was necessary. When they pulled the bumper, they found out that it used to be drilled for a front license plate. So there were 4 holes filled with Bondo that had shrunk. So there were actually like little impressions in my bumper that I never really saw because they were hiding behind the license plate.
Wow.
And so while they were in there, they fixed that. So my bumper is actually in better condition now than technically it was a month ago. It was a hit and run at a Cars and Coffee surrounded by people with their phones out, which was kind of a moronic move, if you ask me, by the gentleman.
Wow.
But
I'd say so.
So yeah, that's all taken care of. I got the car back just in time to go in for service. So I got it back yesterday. So the car's not been in my possession really for the better part of literally a month. And I had a brake fluid flush. Okay. I had a transmission fluid flush. All new rubber, 4 corners of rubber.
Which tires did you get?
I went with the Michelin PS2.
Interesting. What's the difference between the PS2 and the PS4?
So the 4S is technically, my understanding, is an all-season tire. And if you are buying tires for Porsche, Porsche works with Michelin on an N spec. N as in Nancy.
Yep.
And so they are specific to Porsche, and the only N spec tires that are made for Porsche currently, especially the 997 in those sizes, are the PS2 and the Sport Cup 2, which I don't need a Sport Cup 2 on my tires or on my wheels, especially around roads as opposed to a track.
Yeah.
So there's really only 2 options that are in spec.
Is that new?
The PS2's been around for a little while. The only reason I got new tires is because the old tires had plenty of tread, but 7 years old. So they were kind of brittle.
That's interesting. I run the Pilot Sport 4S on mine, but mine are slightly smaller because I have the C2 and you have the S. So I'm running 265s.
So are those in spec?
I'm not sure. It's the Pilot Sport 4S, but I got them in 2022, so it's been 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, you can get 4Ss technically for the car.
Yeah.
They're just not going to be Porsche, quote,
got it,
specific certified.
Sure.
And I guess, and this might be an extremely dramatic take,
okay,
right? But the 4S not being in spec may result in a slide or a little less grip or something potentially based on the performance of the car. This is me quoting the service department, of course. I don't have experience because I actually asked for the 4S.
Yeah.
That's what I've had. I'm either on my second or I'm in at least my third set, I think, on the GTI.
Right.
And it's an incredible
It's a great tire.
So the PS2 is just slightly sportier, a little less all-weather. Given that we're in Southern California, I was like, all right, let's just run them. And I'm kind of excited to see like how many miles I get out of this tire because, again, the 4S is the best tire in the world. Yeah. I think I got 40K at least, maybe 50,000 out of my last set on the GTI.
Right now I have 20,000, not 20, 18,000 on mine. And when I got the tires measured recently, I think they had something like 60% of the life left, maybe a little bit more.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're a great tire. Do you know what tire you run, Wes?
Yeah, what tires are you? Do you have them on the turbo?
I believe it's Michelin Pilot Sport.
Yeah. So it's the same gray. Yeah, I wonder what generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They were pretty fresh tires. I know that when I got the car, they were new on the car because I mean, that's what a good dealer does, right? For any car dealer, they're going to put fresh tires on.
Yeah.
I think for that car, it's pretty essential to have something remotely fresh. For my wife's car, those were like 9-year-old tires. We had to switch those out almost immediately.
Oh, well, yeah. Fair.
We did that right away. Yeah.
The only other things I've done to the car or for the car recently, I don't know if I ever shared this in episode 1, but for the 997, I got the trunk liner, that like plastic liner that you could put in the front trunk.
Oh, really? Is it worthwhile?
I mean, I think so. I mean, that way I can just throw things in and like not even sweat it. And it's great for like groceries. God forbid something leaks.
And did you get the Porsche brand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might need to get. I want to look at yours while I'm here because that's something I've been thinking about.
It just feels so silly, Wes. You know, I'm sure you'd agree to spend like $150 on a piece of plastic that costs like cents on the dollar. But it's obviously molded. It fits perfect. It's like whatever. It's appropriate, right? And again, I heard a great hashtag recently. It was called "Driven Not Hidden," and so like I want to use these things, but that doesn't mean I don't want to take care of them or prevent things from being worse than they otherwise need to be. The other thing I got too, which actually a friend of mine, shout out Jervis, he gave me, it's a plastic ring that's like, if you think of a ring that would fit over your the nozzle where you put in the gas handle, like when you go to fill up on these older cars, you know, like sometimes they don't let you do the automatic click thing. It'll like shut off.
Not only that, it won't fill the whole tank.
Right. Exactly. So this is a ring that is a Porsche part, apparently, that you can put over it to allow you to then engage the little clicker.
I know about this because I'm getting one.
Okay, so my friend Jervis accidentally ordered 2 of them, so he just gave me one of his. I put it on this morning, as a matter of fact, so I haven't used it yet.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I mean, that's such another stupid part, but like I'm excited because I'm tired of just like holding the handle.
Well, when we get to my part, I have an update on that.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate as well.
So yeah, that's it for the 997. The GTI, I got new tires. Like I said, another set of 4Ss. Spark plug job done on that car. About every other oil change, I do the spark plugs because of the engine tune. Since it has an APR stage 1, I do the spark plugs pretty regularly, and they sort of recommend that you do that. And then just an oil change, filter. That was the other thing the 997 got too, was an oil change. So
nice.
Tons of maintenance here in the Smith house.
Yeah. Well, I know you're on it, Wesley, but yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. I ended up actually doing WeatherTech mats in the E39 540.
Nice.
I think that helps a lot when you're on the road for a couple hours. When you're just sitting in the same place, your feet are more stable, your lower back area is more supported by that.
Interesting.
I just felt like the trunk, it's just a great hauling car. It's nice to be able to throw stuff in the back and not worry about scratching up the trunk in that car.
Totally.
I do still want to respray the driver's seat that's looking a little tired and probably recover the steering wheel. And that's kind of it for that car for a while. I want to just drive it daily for another 2 to 3 years. And at that point, I think I'll really kind of try to set it aside and fix any like minor cosmetic stuff when I make it a true weekend car.
Yeah.
Uh, for the 911, pleased to say I am just enjoying the crap out of that car. Everything I wanted to do to it is finished. Like we changed the oil after a year. We cleaned up the bottom of it when it was on the lift. There's no rust or anything.
Nice.
We did even tints all around, 70% all around, so you can enjoy the interior, protect the interior from any sun and UV exposure. Um, what else? The head unit is updated, right? So I have Apple CarPlay in there.
Game changer.
It's such a game changer and just so nice to be able to have Waze on there and see what's ahead of me on the road. I did get that Line phone mount that I'm enjoying a lot per your recommendation, Wesley. Absolutely loving that.
Sweet.
Really nothing too crazy going on with that. There are a couple of tiny little chips in the door panels, and my mom is an artist, so she's going to help me color match that paint and just
There
touch
you
that
go.
up this summer.
Nice.
And just really just enjoying the car safely and trying not to get any speeding tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
And then for my wife's car, the Macan, I mean, we did the same WeatherTech trunk mat only, and we got bumper plugs. She had like a couple of empty holes on the front. I wanted to ask you guys, I accidentally tore some of the PPF that the previous owner had put on the car with the power washer. And I was curious if
oh
you guys
wow.
have ever had PPF repaired, because I don't really want to PPF that car again. There's a couple of tiny tears on it.
Yeah, I mean, what sorry, what part of the vehicle is the damage?
Uh,
Is it a fender?
it was on the front hood, like kind of next to one of the lights on the right.
Well, if it's the actual hood, that's a little easier to deal with because I know, especially with a 911, let alone the Macan, there's like not a flat surface on the 911, like unless it's the hood. So that job, you're probably just going to have to replace it, depending on how much is torn. What I will say is a lot of the PPF, I know the PPF I have in my car is that self-healing kind. So that like when
Yep.
you tear it or have like a slight nick, if it sits in the sun, it'll like heat up over time and like kind of reseal itself. So if it's just a speck, maybe just park it outside for a day or a couple days. Otherwise, you might just have to redo just the hood. A pressure washer. Did you drop the handle on it or something? Or like it was the water that did it?
I got a little too close. And
Okay,
this
okay.
is not like a concourse level car, right? This is a
No,
daily
Right.
driver. I
Yeah.
don't want to be too crazy about the condition of it, but
sure. Yeah.
I think that could maybe be patched for the next few years and then just re-PPF the whole hood at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we're putting miles on that thing. My wife put 10,000 miles on that Macan in the last year because she's still in school right now,
Hmm.
Wow.
doing her PA rotation. So she's enjoying the crap out of that thing too. I'm glad to see.
Sweet. Trevor, what maintenance you got going on?
Yeah. So I did a big job recently, and I got to shout out my guy, Bryce Lamb, over at Blam, because he did take care of me very nicely. But I did all brake pads and rotors on the car. So I have all brand new brakes on all four corners.
This is the
On the
997.
997, yeah.
Okay.
And the difference is like, you can definitely tell. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you do certain upgrades or maintenance or fixes, you're like, yeah, I probably should have done that before. And this would be one that I would put into that category.
Not interrupting you, since you're new to the round table, for those listening, what do you have in your garage? just like top line.
Top line,
Make a
I
model.
have a 2006 997 Carrera coupe. I have a 2004 996 Carrera convertible. I have a 2003 Corvette Z06. And then I have a 2001 SL 500. So for anyone paying attention, you can see I
There's
have
a
a very
decade.
specific
Yeah.
segment of years of car that I yearn for, which is the segment of cars that I grew up lusting after as a youth.
I think it's the best decade across cars, like because of all brands. Like, doesn't mean certain brands didn't have better cars in other decades, but if you were to say cars were great in this era, I would say the 60s and like the early 2000s.
I have to agree. I would also throw in my own also desires would be the 90s, but I'm going to put it a caveat of the late 90s.
Yeah, the 98.
Yeah, like 98, 99. Also very, very fond of.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's what Trevor has in the garage, folks.
And so on the 997, while I was there, we also did a couple minor things. And one of them, speaking of gas filling and gas-related fixes, I got a new gas cap. And that's a small fix. I think it was literally $15, but it's the best $15 ever spent because, one, the the string that connects the cap to the car had long gone. When I got the car, I didn't have it. And it didn't bother me. But having that is really nice because you don't have to worry about, okay, well, am I going to leave the cap behind? I get to put it, the string. Do you guys put the string over the little holder?
Well, there's like a little tab on the actual gas door. Yeah, I just hang it over.
Hang it over.
Yes.
So now I get to do that. I couldn't do that before. But the filling of the tank is a real issue, and for me, some people have said that it's a problem with the car. I think it is, but it's not a unique problem to mine. But if I put the nozzle in like a normal person would when you're filling it up, the tank will not fill all the way.
You turn it upside down?
I turn it upside down.
I see. Not
any problems at all. And on this subject, a buddy of mine recently got a new to him 997.2 turbo, 5,000 miles. He has the same problem. So it's not just
it's something to do with that nozzle, and it also has something to do. Wes, do you even have this issue where you are? Because I know California are like crazy about their vapor leaks and gas leaks and stuff. So it's our pumps here that are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm noticing at certain gas stations it's happening now too. So that trick to turn it upside down, Trevor, I have to try that.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're going to enjoy it. And, some
it's
people
so funny.
They think it looks weird, whatever. It just gets the job done. And then, funny enough, on the Corvette, I need to get a oil change. But believe it or not, it is very hard to find an independent Corvette mechanic who has time and availability to do an oil change. There's a couple people somewhat locally, like maybe 3. And you call them and you say, I just want to get an oil change.
6 months.
They almost laugh. They're like, oh, that's it? And you're like, yes. And they say, we only do big jobs. If you want to get an oil change, you'd have to drop the car off and blah, blah, blah. And that's the car that's kind of in the best condition. So I'm not trying to drop it off. And I'm also not trying to take it to the dealer, which is why I'm even having this problem, because I could just take it to any old Chevy dealer if I wanted.
Sure.
But I'm not going to trust. I don't know. I just don't trust the dealer experience for Chevy.
What's that spot on the 5 freeway in Orange County?
Yeah, Corvette Mike.
Okay. I just see
on the 5,
like
Corvette
right
Mike.
off the 5.
Yeah, he's one of the guys. I called Corvette Mike's guy. Oh, yeah, I don't know if we can get you in, man. It's just, it's kind of funny, right? And you think about how American cars used to be obviously so ubiquitous of like shops that could work on them. And I'm sure anyone could change the oil in this Corvette, right? I'm being OCD about it.
Sure.
But it's more about just the level of detail with the car, and then also just treating it with respect because the car is super low. So does the shop even have the right setup, right? Where the car's not going to be scraped or whatever. And again, I'm being OCD about it. But yeah, I need to get the oil change, and I can't find someone to do it.
How's the 996 and more specifically convertible top?
Convertible top is still working fine. It has a slight little fabric issue that I need to resolve. But that car is going to be going. I'm going to be selling that one.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What sparked that?
Honestly, just keeping up. Too many cars to keep up with. And
doesn't your girlfriend drive that?
Yeah, but she's not really driving it.
Oh.
And yeah. Also, I would like to get a G-Wagon coupe. And so,
a two-door.
A two-door, yeah.
Dude, that's a big move.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got to make room somewhere.
All right, this might be reserved for later in the discussion under hot takes. So, like, let's put a pin in this.
Let's table this.
But what do you think of that limited edition G-Wagon they launched and just got the green one, right?
Yeah, it's called Stronger Than the 80s.
Oh, that's right.
It
had
1980s
an awful
to
name.
be specific.
Yeah.
What I think about it, I think the colors are great that they're offering. I like this idea of throwing back nostalgia, of celebrating the W460. On hot take, maybe I'm jumping ahead. The name is the worst name I've ever heard. And I understand it's in a pattern of like Stronger Than series because they had a Stronger Than Diamonds. There was another one. The name is just garbage.
Well, so is Stronger Than Diamonds.
Right. Also, the limited nature of it, only 460 for the world. Come on, guys. That's ridiculous. So now it's creating a feeding frenzy of like who's going to pay the most over sticker, that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
And then the last hot take is it doesn't have the V8, and that's just a shame.
Is it a Turbo 6?
It's a Turbo 6,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. I do love the two-door for you, Trevor. I think that is an epic choice.
Thank you. And you know how I feel about them. I sometimes I think about messages I've sent and I'm like, that probably seemed a little weird. But Wes was here recently and he posted a picture in front of this beautiful two-door G-Wagon that I know just from the internet. And I was like, is that your friend's G-Wagon? And he was like, no, it was just a random G-Wagon that we saw.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just appreciating.
Wow. Interesting.
It's a sick car. Yeah.
So part 2, we call it what you're hunting or bought recently, etc. Cars, watches. I have not bought cars recently, or a car at all recently. I'm wearing a Porsche Design X Hodinkee on my wrist. Compliments of one Wes Wynn.
That is a funny story. You're like, hey, do you have any Porsche design watches in stock right now? I was like, I don't think so. No, wait, I have a Hodinkee one sitting next to me.
And so those listening may or may not know, I've looked for one of these. I've like kind of gone back and forth over the Orfinas. Do I get one from the 70s that's completely banged up? Do I get one that's like a new old stock? I've talked to our buddy Raymond about this watch a bunch. Wes, you and I have gone down the rabbit hole of not only this style watch, a chronograph one from Porsche Design, but also, Zenith Daytonas, which is still TBD. I think I might have to mortgage my house for one, but that's okay. But this one came up. It was kind of like the Carrera when I hit up Lambden, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a CS 3111, and he's like, dude, just happened to get this 20 minutes ago sitting on my desk, and that was sort of similar with this piece with you. This came out last year, so for those listening, came out last year. All titanium bracelet, one of 350. This one happened to be worn, but not banged up really, other than the clasp and then a couple of the links. And lucky for me, the previous owner had a bigger wrist than I did or do. And so those 2 links got ejected. And so now the bracelet pretty much looks brand new. Kind of a grail configuration, iconic black, obviously that like bright sort of neon reddish pink, whatever, orange, whatever. What is the secondhand color?
I love the fact that it is a slight neon tinge to it. Right?
Yeah.
It's red, but it's like a little bit neon.
It's like red, orange, and pink all at the same time.
Gives a great contrast, of course.
Very vibrant. A little Fotina on the indices, which I actually don't mind. I think it looks really, really great. The thing that really gets me, though, is my obsession with Japan. And this was, it has a Japanese date wheel.
Same.
So out of the 350, I want to say half of the watches were allocated for North America, the other for Japan, if I'm not mistaken, or something to that effect, or maybe like 100 of the 350 were Japan. So anyway, love this watch.
You have the date wheel set to
Japanese. Yeah, of course.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, you got to represent. My mom, for those listening, lived in Japan for 3 years. Don't know if I've ever shared that on the pod before.
Cool.
From ages 10 to 13, my mother lived there as a military brat. And I think I subconsciously grew up with an obsession with Japan as a result of that. Went to Japan my first time 10, 11 years ago. Had an absolute blast. Went again last year in March in 2024. So 10 years almost to the day. Um, I don't know. One in a certain life, I'd probably live in Japan. Actually,
Yeah, I'm dying to go.
I could totally see myself living in Tokyo or just outside.
Wow.
So that's it for me. Wes, what have you bought, or is there anything you're hunting?
I'm glad that watch went to a dear friend, and I just attended the Porsche Design and Watches of Switzerland event this week in New York. That was a real treat, and I think the brand deserves more attention. They have so much interesting history. Um, I think that in general, there's more scholarship to be done. I can't actually talk about it right now, but I have a friend who's building a site to essentially develop the scholarship on the vintage pieces.
Wow,
That would be exciting to see. I think that the vintage market on them is going to move quite a bit as a result of that.
sweet.
See what happens there. I do have a couple of moves I wanted to mention for sure. Definitely the most interesting watch I found this year came through a dear friend, and I'm noticing that the things that end up really sticky in my personal collection are through friends or have some kind of sentimental value.
Hmm.
I'm wearing it right now. It is a Patek Philippe Calatrava
Wow, look at that.
3796S, and this is a white gold, essentially the same as the 96. It's a small watch, 31 millimeter case, perfect for my average size wrist. A lot of
That's a
people look at it.
31 millimeter that you're wearing?
It's 31. Everyone's so surprised. I actually showed this to a buddy this morning over coffee, and he's like, "Oh, what is that, a 34?" I'm like, "No, it's a 31 millimeter case."
Yeah, all those used to wear a little larger. They were definitely a 33, 34 feel.
The
Is that
reason is because of the longer lugs on Patek. And look, I think that for most people, like a 5096 reference, I have one of those listed right now. That's a 33.5 millimeter case. That's probably more appropriate for both you guys. I have a little bit of a smaller wrist, so this is fine. Um, Anyways, I was on the hunt for a Calatrava to kind of round out my collection for the last couple of years, and my dear friend Rawad Sleem from Huntington Company came across this watch, and he offered it to me. He could have sold it to a client, I think, for a lot more, but he gave it to me as a dear friend and one of his clients as well. But it was a mint full set that got pulled out of Japan, and we had to buy it sight unseen. We didn't know if that was truly going to be the case when it came in, but luckily that was the case. I believe this to be probably the nicest example in the world, and there are only a few of them known to market. So John Reardon, who of course is one of the top Patek dealers on the planet and is so respected, he listed one and said there were only four examples known to market at that point. And we
Wow.
have seen more. I think there are probably like 12 to 15 known to market right now. So
Wow.
it was a
wow.
limited edition release for Japan. It was supposed to be 100 pieces, and it's rumored that they just did far less than that. It's one of the very few
Wow, look at that case back. Woof.
Yeah, exhibition case back. Yeah.
It's one of the very few that has that exhibition in the 3796 reference. So the salmon dial is just so interesting. I mean, I could wax poetic about this watch for like 2 hours. We'll try not to do that, but it's different texture than anything else we see in these watches. Most of them have a brushed silver dial. Some of them actually have an ivory dial, which is technically a ceramic dial that you'll find on the archives.
Wow.
They call this on the archives a velvet texture, which is interesting,
Mm.
but it really lights up in direct light, as you can see.
Yeah.
So I'm just so thrilled to have this in my collection. It really is one of the jewels in my collection.
And you've got that on what looks like a burgundy lizard strap.
That's exactly right. And I do think that this watch will look amazing on like an Hermes honey brown pebbled leather
Mm.
as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
You could also put it on like a nice dark green. That might be a little outside of the box.
Yeah.
yes, that's a good idea too. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Gorgeous, man. Congrats.
excited for that. Look, I am kind of falling in love with Patek more and more. I had a 3940 in the inventory this year,
Wow.
and unfortunately kind of like got the bug for the 3940. So I'm kind of thinking of maybe doing one for my 39th or my 40th birthday.
Sure.
Have a few years to plan for, at least a couple years. So that's something I might be looking for. That would be the only really complicated watch in my collection. I think it would look so nice next to like a very basic Calatrava with lapped markers like this one.
Yeah.
And then I am looking for a daily driver. I have alerts set up, but I don't think I'm going to have to move on one for the next year or two. But if anybody sees an F80 M3 from 2018 with a very cool spec, give me a shout, please, because I'm looking for one, and it's going to be hopefully not like super modified, just lightly modified or untouched kind of thing.
Now, is that still, that's the V8?
The V8 would be like the E9X generation. This is the
Okay.
next one after
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
I think I've heard that it's a really reliable car. All you have to do is do the crank hub and you can hammer on them and not worry about them too much.
Getting back to that 3940 West, was that the one that you had at Nabs?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Man, that watch was killer. I'm not even a Patek guy, and that watch just I still remember just how amazing that watch was. And I remember Nick was obsessed.
Was that white gold or yellow?
This was a yellow example, and the
Okay.
case was really in great condition, but I just got the bug. I mean, I've never been someone to be so drawn to complicated watches, but I think it's the one complicated piece that it just fits so well and elegantly on the wrist. Um, yeah, I think it's something worth pursuing or at least trying on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Totally.
I'm showing Wesley a picture now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah. It's such a great watch. Trevor, what are you hunting or what have you bought lately?
Well, I'll get back because I didn't get to fully explore it. I'll get back to the G-Wagon two-door. That's what I'm hunting.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But
that's
it's
right. That's right.
very specific. One, from what I'm looking for, but also what I'm willing to spend in my mind, right? And so one of the issues, which I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but one of the issues that we have is registering cars in California.
Sure.
So some of these G-Wagons have never been registered in California, and a lot of times they aren't set up to be registered in California, which can be its own process. And so ideally, it would be a car that's already registered in California, which very narrowly narrows the market.
Right.
And on that point, recently, there was a beautiful G500, which is above what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 320. But there was a G500, I believe it was a 2000 Europa car, which Europa was and is a company that would import G-Wagons to the U.S. before Mercedes figured out we could just sell these ourselves.
Right, sure.
And it was on Bring a Trailer, two-door, green, basically my dream spec. And I thought it would go for somewhere around 85, which is above my budget. It sold for 114 plus
Wow.
the fee.
I was going to say, when you said you wanted a two-door, I was like, big spender over here.
No, well, so there's a big range on them.
Okay.
So I want a 320, first of all, this was a 500. So a 320, a really nice one, maybe is like 75-ish.
Okay.
But I'm not looking for a really nice one.
Right.
So for instance, and again, I'm so obsessed with this G that Wes saw in person. That car sold for 70,000 on Bring a Trailer, and it had been completely redone on the interior. That one was so sick. Like I think about that two-door quite a bit.
Did you see the one on Cars and Bids a couple weeks ago? It's not a two-door.
I didn't.
It was
I
it was
don't really
but it was an
check
older
Cars and Bids
G-Wagon.
as much as I should.
It was an older G-Wagon. I want to say it was either light gray, call it silver. Gorgeous looking car.
Yeah.
And I want to say it only sold for like 40 grand.
That sounds like a steal. Yeah.
I might be off in the numbers, but if my memory serves, I want to say it was like $40,000. And I was like, that is a deal.
Well, I mean, this was a deal. I'm looking at this 95 right now. That's crazy.
Yeah, 30 grand.
Yeah. Well,
On Cars and
you can't
Bids, the
see
black
this. I'm
one.
going to put it in the chat.
Is that black?
No, this is blue.
Okay.
This right here,
Even
like
cooler.
If if I had seen this, I probably would have gone after it. I can't believe something must be wrong with this one.
Okay.
That seems really low to me.
Interesting.
Wes, wait till you see this.
Yeah, blue's a good color for that car. I like that you're taking a little redundancy out of your collection, Trevor. I think that
Thank you.
having two 911s might be excessive. A truck now
Well,
with
especially 2 years apart.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Same
so,
engine.
I mean, yeah. So
the
I
same
mean, for
engine.
me, it's like ever since I got my 997, and I've been enjoying the crap out of it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I'm like obsessing over like an early 70s Targa or like a long hood coupe in white. Or just get a 912, you know? I just the goal with going back that far is not speed. It's just vibes and aromas.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
I,
And so, yes. And what's funny in a lot of ways, like with watches, every car that I've bought in the last 3 years, to your point, Wesley, the budget gets bigger for each thing. But yeah, this G will be the most expensive car I've ever bought whenever it happens,
wow.
which is kind of crazy to think about.
Right, sure. Because it's
gonna
it's
be the
still not
oldest,
like an exorbitant
most,
amount of money.
mileage one.
Yeah.
Yet it's the most expensive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, same. My 997 is the most
Yeah.
expensive car I've ever. Yeah. All right. Segment 3. This is the hot takes era. I'll start with kind of a loose hot take. Something that's just been bothering me lately, and this is a very general statement, is just seeing just because people have a following, they're getting privileges and rights and things and treated and invited to things that like they know nothing about, but they're being invited to these things and being able to experience these things just because they have a following. They're not a fan. They know nothing about it, but they'll go and post about it because they are a sounding board or they're a message board.
Can we get it? And obviously, I'm not going to ask you a person, but is there an event that comes to mind where this happened recently that bothered you?
No, I mean honestly, this has been something that's been stewing for years as a gripe. I mean, I keep seeing it more and more and more. Now, granted, this is hot takes. This is not haterade, right?
Yeah,
like this is not. I mean, good for them, but like I know some of these people are going home from these events that they're invited to, and they don't give a shit.
Right.
Like they're gonna sleep at night. Like sometimes when I go to some of these events, like I can't sleep the night I get home. I'm so excited I'm just so stoked. And like that isn't to say, and I know this is a very common thing to complain about online too, because like I'll bring this up not because of me, but because of something else, and it's related, but not the same argument or the same gripe. Did you see The Intern with Adrian Brody?
Oh, yeah.
For Porsche? Okay.
Yes, I saw it.
So
That's good.
So this isn't my gripe, but in the comments, somebody wrote, "I love it when rich people get these kind of opportunities."
Sure.
You know, and it's
see
like, look, what are you going to do? It's Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
God only knows how much money he's spent with Porsche over the years. But also, like, I also understand that to a degree because I too am someone with like a tiny following, though loyal, and I appreciate it. Again, hot takes, not haterade.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, yeah, I see these things that are just like super cool events over the years, and it's just like, this person knows nothing about what you're talking about. They're just, or like, okay, here's a prime example. Watch any F1 race and look at the paddock.
Yeah,
There are
of
celebrities after celebrities after celebrities. You know, some of these people don't know a thing about
That's a good
Formula
example.
One.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't know a thing about Lewis Hamilton, aside from he's like on fashion, websites because of what he wears before the Grand Prix. That's a prime example. And you're just like, I would kill to be in the paddock and walk along pit lane and shake hands and rub elbows with people. And again, this is maybe just misconstrued for jealousy, but like, it's just one of those things. I'm just like, dude, it's so opportunistic, and I just don't like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a little sad, but look, I've heard this sentiment shared before, I believe, on Standard H. And I just think that there aren't really any new cars worth pursuing. There might be some exceptions to that, like a 911R is just an unbelievable car.
Sure. And 10 years old at this point.
And I guess it's a little older too now, but
Yeah, 9 years. It was a 2016
Yeah, I mean,
model.
it's sitting on 10 years.
yeah, like I have a lot of non-car people ask me, they're like, "Why do you like this car that's like 15 years old?" I'm like, "The new one is not better, you know? There's not what about the new one is
Exactly.
like an improvement over this?"
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I do think it's a little bit sad. I think the car companies essentially are working like finance companies now. They're
Hmm.
not really producing a product that's so focused. I think Porsche's doing an amazing job in particular compared to the other brands, but for the most part, these brands are like finance companies, it feels like.
Dude,
And yeah, for modern Patek, I hate to say, I think Patek has kind of lost its way.
100%.
We've all agreed on that with the Cubidus release, but if you look at their complicated watches, I mean, they're just like clunkers. It's crazy. Wearing one on my ankle, to keep me in the house at night or something. They're so heavy.
That's
So
hilarious.
it's funny you mentioned this because I was thinking about this yesterday in how the best time to buy a product is right before that company gets swallowed up by private equity.
Mhm.
Because what happens is usually when a company is bought, they are chasing margin. How can we make more money and spend less? Or like, when was the last time a private equity company made a product better? I can't think of a single
Yeah.
time.
None.
And maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't.
No.
It's usually maybe for growth strategy, but then again, once like you're scaling a business, which if private equity is looking at you, you're already at a certain scale anyway. So to scale it further than that, you can't sit here and tell me the product's getting better as a result.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this yesterday. So it's really funny you should mention this because they do think like finance companies and they're just chasing margin. And that's, you know, unfortunately capitalism, everybody needs to make money. But I was also talking to somebody else recently about like, okay, sure. But when is it enough? I don't remember what Gucci's sales were in the 90s when Tom Ford entered there. I think it was 1990. I think he started at Gucci as creative director. And I think they were doing like 110, between 110 and 300 million annually. When he left, they were either a 3 or $5 billion company.
Wow.
And they still want more than last year. It's like, come on, guys. You were a $300 million company. You're a $3 billion company, and you still need to do more. Like, when is it enough?
It's never enough for companies. That's the problem.
It's so sickening, man.
Do you have any more hot takes? Or all right, I'll take. So
That's it for me. Enough venting.
Yeah.
So this one is, and again, on my show, this is fun because on my show I try to keep things pleasant,
So, likewise.
and lively, and respectable. And you don't ever want to hurt anyone's feelings,
Sure.
Because sometimes when I talk about these watches, a lot of my listeners, maybe not a lot, they have the watches, so I want to be respectful. But since I'm here and I'm gonna get out of the box, I said a little about this on my show, but this new Tudor Black Bay 54 Lagoon Blue.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with this watch?
Yes. Not
Okay.
very. I've never handled
right.
it, but I am. Yes.
It's awful. Okay. It's so bad. And I know I'm going to offend some people. And then also I didn't get to, and because I'm trying to be respectful on my show, I didn't get to give my full thoughts or the full history. But yes, I know very well that this is an homage to Tudors from the 90s. Those are awful too. This mirrored bezel that you can see your reflection in, trash.
Right.
This
Right.
idea that it's a summer color, it's fun. No. The original Black Bay 54 is so good. How could you follow that up with such a terrible release?
Oh, preach. I mean, I haven't handled
This
it.
is my opinion. Maybe Wes disagrees. I know people that have the watch. Maybe people enjoy it. But and also I'm a fan of modern Tudor, but now I'm realizing maybe I'm not as much of a fan as I thought I was, because and this is another thing I would say, and now I'm really on my soapbox, but
Let's go.
I have a 1992 Tudor Submariner, And recently this watch was featured in a publication, and a lot of people reached out about it, and they said, why doesn't Tudor just do something like this? Why doesn't Tudor bring back this type of thing? And I'd like to pose that. Why is it that they do a great thing like the Black Bay 54 in black with the nice black bezel that harkens back, but then they feel like, oh, let's do something more shiny, more flashy? I just wish modern Tudor would build stuff that I want them to build. Simple, beautiful design, which is what they had been doing, but they seem to have lost their way on that.
I will say, just as a talking head here, where, like, yes, you're 92, which is blue, right?
It's blue.
It's like the MN kind of spec.
Yeah.
At what point do you start to draw the line of being like, okay, well, we can't just like only replicate what we did before just because it was good, you know? Like they do. I'm with you though. Yeah. Like the bezel of this new Lagoon is like, it is mirror-like. I mean, it is shiny. And then it's on their 5-link bracelet, which is shiny.
More flash. Flash, flash, flash.
Yeah,
shine, shine.
And it's like, okay, cool. I mean, you know that person's out there. I mean, the cool thing is that they did do it on the 54, right? The 37 millimeter. So at least it's not a hunking 41. Sure. You know, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But I'd really be interested in handling that watch. But so far, videos from Instagram, et cetera, have not done it for me. Sorry, Cole Pennington. Love you, brother. Not that he designed the watch, but like, you know, I just shout out Cole because he's my guy.
So that's my hot take.
Look, I think it's kind of sad because Tudor has been really exciting in the last decade. I think they've done a phenomenal job of understanding the enthusiast market, but also making it enough mass market that they can sell the right volume of watches to be successful.
Yeah.
I think this new release is a little bit like, it's a little bit too mass market, frankly. It's for people that aren't necessarily going to be like enthusiasts. And I think the 54 was just such an unbelievably practical watch, right? If you appreciate gilt era Rolex and you don't want to spend some kind of crazy budget, you get a lot of that feeling on your wrist from that watch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of expected the next 54 to be in the same vein of something that was like truly harking back to something in their catalog.
Well, it is kind of very Rolex though, right? Like when you think they're going to zig, they zag, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think they're kind of, that's sort of their MO, I think on one hand. Second of all, look, if I think like a business, right? Like not like a bank, but like a business, it's all about how do I reach new people? And so to your point, it's so different that maybe they're trying to reach somebody different, right? Like I don't know the methodology or sort of the goal setting behind this release, but sometimes a divisive product is better for a business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to pretend to not understand those economics.
Sure.
Someone said this very recently because at Watches and Wonders, I was very disappointed by Tudor's releases, one of which was a 43 millimeter Black Bay.
Right.
And I don't remember who said this to me, but I'm sure you guys will recognize this. They said, that's not for people like us. That's for guys that don't know anything about watches that walk into a boutique and want to get something, which is a lot of sales.
100%. Totally.
And yeah, I actually heard Cam Barr, to credit him, he said that the Pelagos 39 is the best modern dive watch. And I have to agree with that. Like I have a 54 in my collection, but I think the Pelagos 39 is the closest thing you can get to like Tudor Snowflake no date. And it's a really practical watch. I'm kind of waiting for them to release a blue version of that.
Okay, so this is exactly what the person said. They said, well, where's the blue Pelagos, however you say it, in 39? Sure. Where is that? Right? Yeah. Where's another variation of the Tudor Black Bay 58 GMT? Where's that?
Is that 39 mil variant, is that titanium like the 42 is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Exactly. That's a great watch, and I totally
agree
with
James
Cam
Stacy
on that.
rocks the hell out of that watch.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, like a modern sub no date, it's a pretty heavy watch, and it's a pretty flashy watch. Ceramic bezel.
Yep.
Whereas like a Pelagos 39, it's light. It's all brush surface. It's for anybody that likes vintage. I think it's the better option for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go counterclockwise for number 4 because it's what are you selling? And I only want to go counterclockwise because Trevor, you already said it, I think, right? Your
Yeah,
996 Cabrio.
I'm selling the 996. It's a slow process because I want to just fix a couple things, which is always an interesting calculus. Do
Right.
you spend the money to
Right.
fix it, or do you leave it as is?
Yep.
And in this case, there's just a few minor things, like the guy before me put in an aftermarket radio that was always hideous, but I lived with. But recently, the radio stopped working, so I have the original head unit that I want to put in,
Oh,
but I
cool.
got to do that.
Nice.
Things like that. But I sold. Can I say what I sold?
Yeah, that's what this is
Great.
about. Yeah, yeah.
I sold my Tudor big block chronograph,
Okay.
and it was a 1993 example. Really nice, but it just wasn't getting much wrist time, and it is chunky. It's literally called a big block for a reason.
Yep.
And selling that was very freeing. Like,
what
I
is the
feel
market
lighter.
on those? Like, what do those go for?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll tell you what mine sold for. I sold mine for 6,000.
Okay.
I mean, the expert on this is here, but I would say the market is around there.
Okay.
But it depends on exactly what year it's from. So mine was a 93, so it was a 79180. But the market on it is soft. I mean, I bought the watch for more than that, a little bit more than that. And I had it for 3 years. But when I bought it, I thought, I can't lose money on this. Well, I did.
Yeah, but I mean, 3 years ago, that was like the peak of all markets.
Yeah.
Really.
Wes, that's not something you would ever stock, right? That's kind of outside your scope.
Look, I've sold quite a few Tudors. I don't mind listing them. I like having modern watches on the site because it attracts just more buyers interested in exploring stuff that's older, right? They come in through the Tudor 54 and then all of a sudden they're looking at some vintage watches too. So I like to sprinkle in some modern stuff.
Yeah. That's great. Are you selling anything, Wes?
I am. So I had to make space for this 3796 that we just discussed. And I basically am unloading some less desirable watches in my collection. I sold my Grand Seiko SPGA 413, which I loved. I was a little hesitant to let that go because I feel like that was one of the watches that got me so heavily into the hobby. But that being said, I just want to keep the real gems and the things that have even more sentimental value moving forward, as I mentioned. So,
Yeah.
a couple other modern watches are leaving the collection for this essentially too.
Yeah. If you look down at your wrist at a Calatrava and you're thinking of a Grand Seiko, there might be a problem. But
Yes, exactly.
it's a subjective issue. At the end of the day. Anything else? Anything else moving?
Um, Look, I'm actually selling one of my bigger watches as well because I'm not going to mention what it is because it's on the market right now.
Okay.
About what it is, but
Okay.
that watch will open up some space hopefully for the 3940 in a couple years.
Oh,
And
sick.
There you go.
there there have been a couple 3940s offered to me that were really exceptional in the last like 2 months that were tempting, but it's a big investment to get a white gold one. So I'm gonna have to behave myself for a while and kind of plan for this in the future.
3940s, I feel like 3, 4 years ago, maybe pre-COVID, was what, like 30 for those? 40?
For a G, they were 40, and they've
Yeah.
basically doubled in the past two
Yeah, I think
years.
they're
They're
like
like
75
wow.
to 100 now, aren't they?
I just had a new old stock G offered to me for 90,000, which is
God knows.
unbelievable. I'm sure it's probably one of the best in the world, but
Sure.
we'll see. I think they are getting a little bit hyped in the market. That's kind of my hesitation. I feel like a lot of bigger dealers are focused on that reference right now,
Mm-hmm.
and rightfully so. It's such an important watch, but
Yeah.
my preference is for the G because you get the display back and the platinum you don't see that. So
Yeah.
if you like white metal like I do, you're kind of stuck with the G, I feel like primarily.
Yeah. Um, anything else selling? Or is that it?
Look, my BMW, whenever it gives me trouble, I'm like, why do I still own this? It's a love-hate relationship with that car. It's
Yeah.
I love it like 90% of the time, but there are some days where I'm like, my goodness, why do I own this still? But
Right.
that's being a car enthusiast, and you have to be like you go through that, and I think you're a real enthusiast when you're willing to stick with it and fix these problems sometimes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be honest though. I mean, you've really put in some monetary elbow grease into this car. So like I think it needs to be kept for a little longer if I'm going to put in my 2 cents.
Well, I appreciate your advice always, and I'm just trying to get my money's worth out of it, frankly, for
Yes.
3 years. That's
Yeah.
that's why I'm going to daily it for at least 3 more years.
I was going to say because with the money you've dumped into it, like I feel like you need to you need to enjoy that depreciation before somebody else does. You know
I
what I
know,
mean?
I know. Yeah, it's a 22-year-old car. You're
Yeah.
bound to have
That's
issues,
right.
and BMWs are not as reliable as Porsches. There's just
Yeah.
not a shadow of a doubt about that.
Mhm.
So,
But they kind of have a reputation for being, you know what? Here's another hot take.
Let's
I
go.
hate when people say cars or engines are bulletproof. Like they say, oh, the E39 is bulletproof. No, it's not.
I mean,
it's just not.
yeah.
Does it mean
it's
it's not a
not.
great car? Because I love the E39. I love the E39. I also say, they'll say, oh, the Mercedes R129, those M113 engines are bulletproof. No, no, they're not. I can tell you from my service bills, and I have a good example.
That is Pare Pare podcast on Instagram. DMs are open. I'm just kidding. No, I agree. No, I agree. I think anything being bulletproof is kind of stupid because it's all subjective as well. Like,
Completely.
you could have flooded the car and then sold it to some Joe Schmo who thinks it's bulletproof, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I mean, well, that's a horrible example because I'm sure that'd be on the Carfax. But anyway, point being
Right.
is Trevor's right. Is
Well, what I'm realizing is like this is the only E39 I'm ever gonna own. I'm not going
Mhm.
back to this car. It's like it was in my family since it was new. It has a good pedigree. I dream of driving it when I'm like 60 years old and
Sure.
beyond. That's kind of the hope here, but
Yeah.
we will see what happens. I do think that the F80 is like a very, very attractive car. I remember it coming out, and I've heard that the manual
Beautiful.
in that car is a little bit better feeling than the E9X series. So I think I'm definitely going to go manual with that and be able to row the gears every single day, which will be epic.
There you go.
Welcome home, buddy. Welcome home.
Yeah.
Great. I am selling absolutely nothing. So this is quick. Yeah, I'm not selling anything. I think of what to sell, if for no other reason to support my business, or yeah. I mean, I've again back to my very brief comment earlier about a Zenith Daytona. There's just the only Daytona I ever really want. I mean, save for like I don't know, like a 6239 or something, like. But is a white dial Zenith Daytona.
Would you ever co-own a watch?
I mean, I do actually with my dad with the Batman.
We should. I call it a Plan T. We should Plan T a white.
I like Plan Z, right?
A white dial Zenith Daytona. If you're into it, because I want one too.
Well, here's the issue: is what happens when you have it in your possession and I really want to wear it that day?
No, you have to. You have to be like the way I do it is. The person takes the watch for a few weeks, a month, 2 months,
right,
and then you take it for a few weeks, a
Yeah.
month, 2 months. That's the only way it'll work. It
Yeah,
can't
no,
work
understood.
We'd have to be
Understood.
neighbors for it to be like, you take it on Monday, I'll take it on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah, totally.
But I have a couple watches like this, and I would think about it. Let it percolate.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
it's
that's
something
on my list.
It's yeah, and for those listening, if you're looking for that era of Daytona, there's no better person to talk to than Wes Wynn at Collector's Corner because he'll break down every single serial number for you.
Yeah. You were wearing a P serial at NABS, right?
That was a personal watch. That was the first Daytona I really felt like I learned every little nuance from
Yeah.
88 until 2000. It's basically a 12-year run with that. But interestingly, I feel like the Zenith or the Zenith, however you want to pronounce it, like
Sure.
That hasn't really seen its day in the sun yet, but I feel like that's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep it under wraps until at least
we pull
he
the
gets
trigger.
one or I get one or we get one.
Yeah. So the thing is, that's, I mean, honestly, that's the watch that like really had me perked up in the early 2000s working at Banana Republic. Somebody walked in and was like, or was it early 2000s? No, it would have been.
No, it ended in 2000.
Yeah, it would have been in 99.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been in 99. I just remember this guy. I remember exactly where it was because Banana Republic no longer looks like this in Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh. But I was standing in the men's section right in the front, and this guy had this Garibaldi. I think it was Garibaldi and Bruns was the jeweler back then that had Rolex. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Walked in. This guy was like glowing the way a pregnant woman glows. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, this guy is clearly having a good day.
Yeah.
And so as a result, I was like, oh, did you get an engagement ring?
Uh-huh.
You know, because it was like from the jewelry store.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I got a new watch that I waited months for or something like that. I mean, even back then, I think people were waiting like 3 to 6 months for this, or at least maybe they just didn't have one in stock. Anyway, long story long, this guy showed me this watch, and ever since, that's been like the watch under Daytona, under the Daytona flag. But what's interesting about it too is my first love IWC, like from like a proper brand standpoint, and I got a Portofino chronograph. And the more I think of watches, and even the one on my wrist, right? I'm just such a chronograph guy. Like, I know some people do or don't like, Wes, you were talking about, you know, complicated watches. And it's just like, I don't know. I think about this thing, like the Longo one's going nowhere, trust me. Like, but it's a busy dial, right? Technically, you know, it's very unique. It's a big date. You know, it does stuff, you know, and a chronograph always looks like it does stuff. And like always looks expensive, I guess, to a certain degree. And it's less about that. Like, I don't want that kind of attention, but it's like, at least I can look down and it looks like it's worth what I paid for it, you know?
I know what you mean.
You know,
sometimes
like,
the simplicity can be like, it's like, well, what does it do? Well, it's time only.
Yeah. So
some people are snobs about time only.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And they should be, you know, I mean, it's to each their own, you know, like it's whatever floats your boat. And to me, I just love a chronograph. So
it's like a little mechanical marvel. You're like, how is everything working in this here?
And it's still, the time is still ticking. Yeah, it's incredible. All right, sort of wrapping up. This is number 5. What you're into outside of cars and watches, aka cultural recommendation, podcast, book, show, etc. Not only the algorithm, but the books that I've been stacking up and waiting to crack in my office are actually parenting books, as silly as that sounds. Just like really cool stuff. I had somebody generously send me, I think it's called The Daily Dad. I think it's what it's called. Is it rather than The Daily Stoic? Anyway. So yeah, some like fatherhood stuff. That's kind of what I've been into lately with my daughter, now 9 weeks old. So time's flying.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, this might be a throwback, but I was rewatching this show, Chef's Table.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually pretty interested in cooking. I really enjoy it. It's like the one time a day where I can really slow down and just not be looking at a phone or a computer or talking to somebody. And I was rewatching the Francis Mallman episode, which I like. I think that's a great place just to enter because I've had to watch that episode probably 10 times. I'm so obsessed with his story.
It's so good.
I highly recommend that. And just go out, learn a new recipe. That's my recommendation for everyone. Cooking is just the best healing pastime.
Wow. Yeah, and it could be meditative, you know, like it's just like you can get in the zone, I think, in the kitchen. By the way, Ryan Holiday is the author of The Daily Dad. Sorry, I left that out earlier.
I have a follow-up for Wes, even though I know this is supposed to be non-car and watch related, but it's related to Chef's Table. Did you see the one with Thomas Keller?
Yeah.
Oh, that was on the Legends or whatever it is? like the Chef's
it's a more
Table
recent
Legends.
one.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in this genre, but did you see his cars and watches in that episode?
Crazy.
I haven't seen the episode yet.
Oh, you got to see it.
I knew he's a big watch guy. He was on the Hodinky podcast.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Non-car, non-watch related. I love podcasts. Obviously, one of the reasons I want to start my own is because I just enjoy the medium specifically. And I know this is another hot take. I'm full of them today. Without video, that's my preferred type of podcast personally. So I love this podcast called Criminal. It's made out of North Carolina, which just happens to be a tie we share. But this podcast is tremendous. Every week they drop on Friday, and they do all sorts of episodes based around crime, some more lighthearted than others. But yeah, basically the premise is there's some sort of underlying crime. Again, some can be more fun than others. Some are very dark and chilling, but it's just so well done. It's like one of the best produced podcasts out there.
Sweet.
It's so good.
Okay, so minus video. I like that, by the way.
Yeah.
Where do you typically listen to podcasts, or what are you doing?
Yeah. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm at home, like cleaning or doing something where, and this is where the non-video comes, right? Because I'm engaging in some other activity, but I'm listening to the story. And so I don't have to be sitting and watching a screen. Or when I'm driving on a long drive. So if I was in the car going to like Orange County or something. Yeah. But I like to actively, because I guess it's not actively, I like to be able to focus on what I'm doing listening, but also do something else like driving. So driving a long distance is a great place to listen to a podcast.
Yeah, totally. I agree. Have you watched Spike's Car Radio?
So this is, I didn't want to say this, but this is probably one of my, again, hot takes. Now that it's on video, I'm so torn because I want to see what's happening on video, but I don't really want to watch it either.
I see.
So what I end up doing is like, I'll consume it in like 4 parts. So like I'll get home from work and I'll watch it later in the evening, and then I'll like watch maybe 20 minutes, and then the next night I'll watch 20 more. It's so disappointing having to do it that way. And I could keep watching it. I could keep just doing the audio, but then I'm like, what am I missing on video? Well, it turns out not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I've been into recently is the Tour de France.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching that,
Nice.
Mostly on the treadmill at the gym.
Yeah.
There's certain ways you can watch it. Obviously, you can watch it live, but that's like crazy, like several hours. I'm not doing that. Also wrong time zone to be doing that in.
Yeah.
And then I think NBC Sports has been historically really, really good about YouTube doing extended highlights. So it'll distill that 4-hour broadcast to like 28 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. Cheat code. I like that.
But the Tour de France actual YouTube channel will even distill it further to like 8 minutes.
Whoa.
And one thing that the Tour de France will air that NBC Sports doesn't is a lot of the team radio. And man, do they have some filthy language. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, I knew they would be like competitive and stuff, but there's like, it is not uncommon to hear several F-bombs in 8 minutes. And you're just like, wow, all right, go ahead, TDF. But yeah, anyway, that was something else I've been into. Considering I haven't read those books yet, but I'm eager to crack the covers, like I said. Gentlemen, this was fun. These things fly by. Wes, thank you for joining me again. Trevor, we'll be sure to get your updates on a future episode of the Roundtable.
I'd love to come back and do this.
For sure. You guys have anything else as we wrap up? Obviously, you can catch Wes. Do you want to just share how people can reach out to you?
Sure. Well, just want to say what a treat to join you two guys. I mean, I consume both of your podcasts like every single episode as soon as it comes out. So
your check is in the mail.
Yeah, and just glad to be close friends with both of you guys at this point. But you can check out my socials at Collectors Corner NY or CCNY in short.
Great, awesome. Pari podcast
on Instagram, and I'll do something I have literally never done. This is the first time, and it goes back to conversations we've had. Subscribe to the podcast, like a post. Wow, I can't believe I just said that.
This is so YouTuber of you.
Yeah, I know. But you know what's funny is like some of the stuff that bothers me, I just have to get over because like apparently you have to say these things. So go to the podcast, leave a review.
Yeah, same here. Like I don't ask for it nearly enough. If you guys could please send these episodes to friends so they can check them out. Obviously, this goes nowhere when it doesn't grow.
That's right.
So if you don't mind, rate, review this show. Hopefully, this is something a little different. You know, between now the Standard H channel has sort of become this amalgamation of several things with interviews, F1 podcast, pit stops, and now the roundtable. Hopefully, you guys are you entertained? You know, it's a lot of fun for me. It keeps the boredom at bay, and I'm stoked to share these.
I have one more hot take because it's part of your brand that's coming up. You're making polos that I'm so excited for.
Okay,
this is a polo. I'm not going to say who makes this, but it was quite expensive. Do you see a flaw with this polo?
Well, there's a hole.
There's a hole
corner of the placket.
Yes, I never wear this, and it's because of this like material. You know how angry it makes me that there's a hole there?
I'm trying to figure out how that even happened.
It's because of it's the fabric.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm excited for your polos that aren't going to have a hole in them.
No. And my polos should be coming out hopefully by the end of August.
I'm too excited.
I guess I'll tease them here. PK fabric. So think of like a Ralph Lauren. They call it mesh, but like a PK fabric. Ribbed collar, ribbed sleeve trim as well. So cuffs and ribbing, collars and ribbing. Your polo has neither. That is actually a lesser expensive way to make a garment because it's the same fabric. And had I made my polos the way yours is made, it probably would have been made 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Thanks for bringing that up. All right, gentlemen, thank you again. And thank you to all of you for listening. And stay tuned for another roundtable. I don't know, probably in a month. It's been quite the length of time between episodes here. I hope not to duplicate that. That was sort of an anomaly, but great. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Later. This brings us to the end of this Standard H Roundtable. Please help spread the word by sharing these episodes, and if you'd be so kind, please rate the show on the platform of your choice as it'll help others discover the series. Huge thank you to Mars Motel for providing the theme track, as well as to all of you for listening. Take care of yourselves and each other.